Well, we started our conversation about ENCE versus Renegades by framing it that ENCE were coming into this as the untarnished record, a 3-0, coming up against Renegades, who did quite the opposite, back down to the 0-2 and the reverse sweep to bring them to the top 8, to the Mercedes-Benz Arena, which is where we are so gifted to be standing now. But Mirage, quite the gift, it seems, to Australian Counter-Strike. Chad, we have to start with you, because that was a lockout.
Yeah, I guess I told you so.
Okay. Oh, he's getting it in early.
No, it's good, because I just want to banter, right? For the rest of the games, I'll be serious. This one here, ladies and gentlemen, of course, I'm going to be a little bit more whimsical with things. But
whimsical?
That was great. That was fantastic. It didn't look like ENCE watched a single Renegades demo.
Yeah, I was talking to Chad in the back, and I mean, in previous Renegades matches on Mirage, they were doing 3 top mid default. So when Alu got caught trying to look underpass, and then they got caught with that boost by Azza flanking a B bomb site, it was hard to watch based on, you know, what we've seen out of the Renegades previously on Mirage.
Yeah, and everyone's on the board. Look at this. Like we were saying before, Liaz, will he be able to maintain his game? Everyone's getting going for Renegades. And it's not like they just won a bunch of clutches and it was close. Some of these T-side rounds were just dominant. They was running over them.
11 rounds on the T side of Mirage. I mean, that's not something you would necessarily anticipate coming into today.
No, and it was clean, right? They were able to win those rounds that I thought were problems. Justin having to win this one here in the smoke, that's a hold your breath kind of moment. But the fact that they could convert against the, I guess, lower buys and make sure they did it, even though there was some worrying situations, they were still able to close them out. And that really needed to come on in here. Another positive for Renegades in this game, you didn't let ENCE get going. None of the players looked warmed up. Aerial's making some absolute whiffs right now. They're not looking confident.
And he was their top fragger, so enough said, right?
Well, yeah, look, I didn't even look at his stats after that. So when you see the highest fragger on their team struggling, that's a big worry. And we also touched on X7. He was towards the bottom of the scoreboard with Sergey, another player who, so far throughout this tournament, has been looking fantastic. So,
seeing JKS, seeing him do that as well, so aggressively trying to take ramp on a limited buy and winning those duels.
JKS had so much success, right? He rode that 1-on-2 pistol round momentum throughout the entire map. I mean, even that eco round, close ramp, Jesus, he had so many impactful frags. And honestly, I'm impressed with how aggressive Renegades was to open this match, right? Gratisfaction coming out of the Palace, getting that AWP pick onto Alu. I mean, they were fearless throughout this entire map, and I can't say the same for ENCE.
Yeah, as much as, listen, a lot of praise to the Renegades. Almost a dream start for them. Remember, the last time they were in the round of 8 of a major, they didn't show up, actually. They just got spanked on their own map pick immediately, and were pretty much out the tournament. This time, ENCE, the whole thing you say about them is the poise. Like I forget what that particular term is in Finnish, but it's like it means basically like you got grit when you're under pressure. You're hard to put away. None of that was here. They were here for like a cup of coffee. That was about it.
Well, the pressure is going to be mounting now as we start talking about Nuke, of course, coming up next. First, I want to make sure we wrap up these Mirage highlights because it's Azza's time in the sun.
Yeah, I wanted to see more from him, and we did. And I know that Aaron is a very smart player. He was always the 2IC back when other people were in-game leaders in the team, always a very loud voice. Now he's taken over that, and he's had a decent period of time with this team now. You think about it, Liaz and Gratisfaction, I think it's 250-something days that this has been a 5-man roster. It's, I guess, tending towards one of the longer rosters we have together. ENCE, on the other hand, I think they've been together for something like 500, or, you know, we're looking at a long time. But it's working, it's coming together. Kassad, I think, has a very good relationship with Azza, and they see the game the same way. But this here is where...
not so good on Nuke.
No, not at all.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, and keep in mind, they did start on CT side in that phase game and lost 16-3.
I will give them one concession, which is, to be fair, at least Furia is obviously a Nuke specialist. And that's maybe softening the blow, but the fact you don't even play it very often when you go into tournaments is kind of telling in itself.
Let's recap a little bit as well, because Sean, you gave us a couple of highlights before. What were the Renegades' flaws on Nuke that we expect ENCE to exploit?
So they did a very poor job of stopping the vent bomb against FaZe, right? Olaf was able to get down the vent, throwing that smoke in front of the door and creep down vent. I didn't see any harassment coming out of Jacob or Liaz in the upper bomb site. Hopefully Renegades is going to fix that problem. I think they left JKS on an island too much at ramp, not enough movement around the map from Gratisfaction. But they could fix that. It's been 4 days.
Yeah, and in that game, FaZe were quite quick. You notice some of the stuff they did, like the first gun round, they've done the normal wall smoke and just pounced. So Renegades also went for a lot of force buys early on their CT side. This is why I'm going to continue to look at the details. Renegades, in my mind, need the pistol here. They need to convert. Seems like the basics, but it's more from a confidence standpoint as opposed to those rounds being on the board. Because once they get blown out, I think that teams can snowball on top of them because they're playing catch-up. Once they're ahead, like Sean said before, they're a game plan team. They can coast on that.
And ahead in the series, coasting, perhaps not the word we can use for Nuke, but stepping into it soon nonetheless. Any convincing happening over the course of Mirage, Duncan? believing that Nuke...
Listen, that was almost that might be the best Renegades I've actually seen with this particular lineup. The problem is, this isn't a 50-50 map. This isn't like the Dust 2 where, listen, hey, maybe we flew a house money, we can win on their map. This is the hard reset. If you're ENCE, you absolutely have forgotten about map 1 already, and you're thinking to yourself, listen, the Org's not there, but we've got all the setups. We've got the CT side of this map down. We know what we're doing.
And weren't ENCE one of the few teams to truly make Astralis sweat during their unbeaten run?
They were the second
they stopped
team.
The run.
The second team. Or,
Yeah.
were they the team that actually stopped it?
Yeah.
They stopped it so it didn't go to 32. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's another picture to paint, and you can see the guys overusing the strafe app. You guys can get involved and cast your votes. That is just the fan vote, and if you want to get involved on the next one, you can do so by
This guy needs to turn up, though. Where was this guy? Sergey. He was one of the top-rated players in the tournament. He's supposed to be the young star who's coming through, not people on the Renegades side.
Yeah, looking at this one as well, Sean touching on things that are poor with the Renegades on their CT side. I think some of the things on their T side are poor as well. They have good executes, they have good strategies, but sometimes I think they have the wrong personnel in certain places. They do a vent dive strat where JKS gets down the vent. Now, you've heard me talk about him being a passive player. He'll get the territory, and he won't actually do anything with it. So if his teammates are still locked out of ramp, they can't get outside past a good AWPer, he is the person who needs to step up and make a play. So I'm curious to see if he's still in that role, or if they've made an addition, they've put somebody like Jacob, maybe like Azza, someone who might have a few more aggressive moments.
I think what I don't want to see out of ENCE right now is a lot of outside upper splits early, because in the previous game I saw from Renegades, their rotation into the upper bomb site's very quick. JKS is willing to smoke ramp and just leave it for the first 20 seconds of a round. And if that's opening is there, I want to see ENCE take that at some point in this game.
Punish, get under their skin early. Renegades could be destabilized and dethroned, certainly in this series, on Nuke. It was ENCE's map pick, somewhat of a punish, certainly considering not only Renegades' success, but ENCE, they've broken the world's best team at the time, unbeaten spree on Nuke. We talking 3 already here, Chad, even for a Renegades believer?
No, look, obviously I'm going to say Renegades are going to 2-0 this. It's going to be nice and swift. We might see another 16-5 type scoreline. Going to be a quick one. I think there'll be
Renegades is a hell of a drug, apparently.
Yeah,
well, wow, give me some of that.
You see the Finns in there doing a lot of drinking. They're going to have a lot more time after this to do some more.
Oh, he really wants to be the villain.
I know, he's trying too hard on me.
Hey, man.
It's got to come naturally.
That soundproof booth, it's heating up. It's like a sauna. The Finns are getting comfortable. This is it.
They'll be naked drinking vodka before you know it. Spanking each other with leaves and that.
The Finns are getting
You've never
comfortable
been in a sauna?
Yeah, they want the sauna.
They love saunas,
They love saunas, yeah.
Yeah, but we were born in 40 degrees, so I'm not sure the Finns know what that feels
All right,
like.
Ben, you merely adopted the heat.
I was born in it.
We've had a few Batman references today.
We have, and the Dark Knight's on the desk, of course. Prediction time, gents, because it is about to jump in. One already made clear, Chad Birchall, a 2-0
Delusional.
from the Renegades. Delusional, perhaps. Duncan Thor and Shields, any convincing happened after Mirage?
Unfortunately, I do not see the Renegades breaking the back of ENCE with the Nuke pick. I think this is a really comfortable pick for the ENCE to go into. This gets them back in the series.
Yeah.
You can have a lot of play on this one at worst, so I think I'm taking ENCE to go in 3.
Can't wait to see Allo
Yeah,
holding
I have
outside.
to say the same. I mean, the individual form for ENCE scares me, but Nuke isn't a map where that matters all that much. It's all about positioning and communication.
Which, of course, we heard from Twister, the coach of ENCE, coming into this, praising and admiring, perhaps even being surprised by the level of communication that the ENCE showed in their first game here at the Major in Berlin. Last couple of moments, of course, acknowledging the coaches, both Kassad and Twister, standing behind them. They'll have the opportunity to speak only during the timeouts. And it does seem like it's time for the desk to time out and head over to James and Dan. Map 2, Game 1, ENCE take on the Renegades.
Now, ENCE have a lot to show us. They didn't really show us anything in that first map. Thank you, Alex, and the rest of the desk. I don't expect the Renegades that we saw in those previous matches, just the way that Mirage went. I think they're going to have plugged some of the holes now. We'll see what ENCE can do. They start on the T side. Even on the CT side, when they started in the first half, Renegades didn't have all the success in the world. And it's not going to go well in this pissed round, it seems, although it's not over just yet. 2 players do remain. You can see Alexi looking for a rotation, looking for a push through the lobby. Doesn't happen just yet. JKS by control, takes one in the face. Still alive though, and Azza will take a player out as well. So now it's a one-man advantage, but looking to push. The door is being they're not allowed in. The bouncer says no, but they'll force their way. They'll get the final kills. The pistol goes to ENCE.
And this is a map though where it's obviously that's not the start that Renegades won. Maybe flashbacks to that game against Na'Vi where they were absolutely trounced. But I'm hoping that Renegades will have done some level of decent prep that could patch some of those huge holes that they had, because I mean it was just some basic rotations and understanding how to play that on their CT side that really caused them problems when they were playing against Na'Vi. It should be easy fixes.
Did you see Alu's face just there? It's the second round. I just won the pistol, but there seems to be some frustration. I don't know if it's like disagreement or something, but I do wonder what the meaning of that is. They started off on the right foot, but it seems the mood might not be in the right place just yet.
And this is a dangerous round too. You know, the force buys on Nuke on the CT side are very strong, so you have to be cautious in how you handle these. You've got to be very routine and drilled. And we've seen that Renegades individually, they are feeling it already off the back of that first map. So if Renegades are to have a performance on Nuke, if they aren't a 2-0, as Chaz suggested, then it would be, they are in the perfect position, given that they had such a hot first map, to get everybody feeling it. And ENCE individually, they're still looking to get that feeling themselves, but by having a good performance in this map, this second map. But again, Renegades would have known that this would come up, this map in this series, so perhaps they have something up their sleeves. And ENCE have got to be careful. They are killing the time. They're burning the time right now. And here's a great response. JKS, perfect timing on the smoke grenade. That's going to slow things down even more for ENCE. They don't really have much real estate. And if JKS gets some kills, if they try to push him, then there's more problems. They're going to go back towards Squeaky now, James.
Yeah, they don't have anyone outside, it seems.
30 seconds.
Yeah, they've got some they've thrown one grenade basically outside. A smoke grenade is up towards the T-red position, but there's going to be issues here to deal with on the ramp. So far, so good. We've got late rotations going down the ramp position, but what can Renegades do on the B bomb site? They've got control of the vent. They're making their way down. 15 seconds. The bomb plants better have the best cover in the world. They better have life insurance, because otherwise this is going to go the way of Renegades. They're just now starting to plant the bomb, and this is a really nervous situation for ENCE, but they managed to survive. Some tags through the wall, I think, from Gratisfaction, but importantly, the bomb has been planted, and now they have position. Do Renegades try to push, or do they go for a reset in the second round, third round?
Yeah, so Az is already falling back towards CT spawn. So yeah, it looks like they are going to just all relax and fall back. And as you say, keep what they have into that next round, make it a second very scary round. Azza has a couple of flashbangs still, too, to bring into that next round. So that's going to be fun to see how Renegades might use them. And I mean, this could have gone really badly for ENCE. Obviously, there was like 7 seconds when the bomb was being planted. And a JKS, you know, there is definitely a world where he gets a kill or 2 kills there. And Renegades just pounce on ENCE, and then ENCE just run out of time trying to plant the bomb because it's so heavily contested. So, yeah, that's a scary one. And now they've got to do it all over again.
I like the decision-making from Renegades. Even in losing that round, it's clean and it's decisive. And I feel like that's one of the differences we've seen from them in this tournament, is just decisiveness.
Yeah.
From when they started to turn things around. And that has gone in their favor. Now let's see how ENCE deal with a basic reset of the situation. Maybe they run into the Mag 7 of Liaz. I don't know if that was revealed in the previous round. I don't think it was. He was up on the hut roof of A on the ramp prior. This time there's more grenades and more presence from ENCE towards the outside, of potential presence. They've got a Molotov towards the stairs. And there are more question marks to be had for Renegades. A shot through the smoke, and this time the ramp is clear.
There's a bit of damage. Softening X7 up for the scouts, perhaps. Oh, hello. Goodbye. That's not a good side for Renegades. Very fast positioning has been picked up by ENCE here, doing way better than the previous round and getting the real estate that they need to secure the bomb plant. And once you've done that, you've pretty much dealt with the force buy, as there's no kits to be seen. So Renegades, what is the option here? They will be, of course, able to buy in the following round. So they're going for some damage. Nice shot from X7, down to 2 HP, but he's looking good. And Renegades, they need to get some damage. They really need to keep the economy honest of ENCE. There is 1 kill at the very least. Can they find anything else? A gun could be collected. There's the UMP. Looks like the Kevlars will be saved here. And the grenades. Gratisfaction obviously had no Kevlar, so not too much loss for Gratisfaction.
We'll see if they choose to hold on to the Mag 7. There is some utility for it on the A bomb site, but it's maybe not favored for people who aren't JW. 3-0 start for ENCE. So far, so good. Still need to show us something to believe in after the start we saw in Mirage. Strong from Renegades, and it was very early here on Nuke. The AWP is out for Gratisfaction. He will be naked. The rest of the team will have their Kevlar. So there'll be a UMP for Liaz, but the Mag 7 will be left in spawn. And out come Renegades with a mixed bag, AKs and SMGs. Sergey with the MP5. Again, worse than the MP7, apart from the lack of tracers. Gratisfaction, he likes to get into this position the fast way. And that's a pretty reliable play he makes, but he's got Jacob for support in a very forward position. And this is going to take a lot of information for Renegades, and ENCE might not be prepared for this.
Yeah, I like the presence of the AWP there. It kind of allows Jacob to have this position because they can't peek him from the top of that silo because they're too worried about getting AWP'd. So that's what allows Jacob to be in that spot. So that's a nice setup, and a lot of time is being killed here. You can see Ali trying to make his way forward. The timing, oh, he's just been spotted. Won't go down, but there goes the forward incendiary. That's going to mess up the timings here for ENCE. So they might be forced to play an extremely slow round. And Gratisfaction, meanwhile, we can see he's rotated with that AWP of his in towards the ramp position. And it looks like ENCE might want to get some ground towards this spot. So they're going to be having to contend with Grat, and he's going to hit the first one. How many more? Oh, goes for the hard shot there. Can't land it, but there goes the support. And this is a good look here for Renegades. Another frag from JKS, and Gratisfaction is ready in a 1 versus 1 with the AWP. And it doesn't look like there's much for ENCE really to do. X7 will try to find a way to get a kill, but time is also against him.
Grat's done his job. Held position, held the ramp with no Kevlar, no less. And there's only one frag in that round for ENCE. Still, it's not too late for a strong start to the first half for Renegades, despite having lost a pistol. That rotation from Gratisfaction is fantastic. Starts off with a very fast attempt at a kill by that secret position and makes his way towards ramp once Jacob's in a secured position. Really nice stuff from Renegades. Still, seeing a lot of promise from them, potentially, on this CT side of Nuke, but the buy is out for ENCE. That wasn't the strongest buy from them. Again, they had 2 SMGs in that round. Now they have 4 AKs in the Galil for X7 and a lot of utility. If they win this round, maybe there's an opportunity to steal an AWP. The squeaky door's being blown off. No smoke towards main, though. See Jacob's in main at the moment. And Liaz is on the high ground of A.
Here we go, fast play. Jacob gets himself the spray, the double comes through, and a third as he goes through the smoke. That is outrageous, and that feels like a glimpse from Mirage, James, just that confidence and converting like that. And they've got to find their individual performances because, sure, as they mentioned on the desk, yeah, you can just win with position on a map like this, but on the T side, you do have to be able to get those entry frags, and right now, Renegades are connecting.
Jacob with the brazen play through the smoke and still gets the frag as well. That is beautiful confidence from the man. Been so strong. A great addition to the Renegades team. ENCE now down to the pistols. Their success was short-lived. It was maybe non-existent in that first game. A third smoke, so there's no gap in the middle, it seems. Or just in case of a Molotov. And they make their way down towards Secret. Aslan might get caught here. Indeed he will. Sergey's to trade with the P250. CZ collected. Now a bomb plant would be fantastic, but JKS has got something to say about that, or does he? Seems like there might be a stolen round here for ENCE.
Yeah, it's looking really likely there. Both JKS and, well, as it was a little bit slow, he needed an extra half a second to get into position to play the headshot angles, but gets punished. And here comes the retake attempt from Renegades. It's going to be tough. Oh, the nade does some good damage, but the timing of the CZ from AlexCP will absolutely cripple this retake attempt. It's just Jacob left. It's all he can do to try to maybe get this AWP and just run away with it. That might be the play. There it is. Gets the pickup, has the fire to cover his tracks and allow him to get some space so he can get to safety. But that was a little bit sloppy, James, from Renegades, and ENCE punished them hard.
Well, I think Renegades played it well to begin with. They ENCE set up for a crossfire, basically, for a bait and switch setup, but Renegades had a double HEs to stop that, took out the first player, but again, yeah, no one was watching for that second player, for that trade fragger who got 2 kills for free, unanswered kills, shut down the round, and maybe it won't be so simple for Renegades. They've got money, however, and that's an important save of the AWP, so they will rebuy, and they may end up with a better buy than ENCE, unless ENCE can spread the money well. That is a surprising win, and again, Renegades won't want to lose too many rounds like that, but better to lose one early than lose one late.
And then they need to start building that security in rounds on this CT side. It was very troubling for them against Na'Vi. We saw perhaps one of the worst performances we've seen out of Renegades for quite some time, but obviously they still managed to clinch that series with Vertigo.
ENCE have 95% of the pick'em selections for this series. 95%.
Damn.
I don't think, for me, I don't think any of the matches are more than a 60-40. I think it's like a really dangerous bracket in that respect. So there could be a colossal upset in this series. And it started off well for Renegades. ENCE back on the buy once again. Grab trying to get the secret, but he's completely blind. There's no idea where he is, but somehow he still makes it down there. Jacob in a forward position. That flashbang comes in just in time. Aerial gets the worst of it, and it's a 4 versus 5.
Oh, there's the punish though. Ali pushes forwards. He's going to keep this going with the pace. Liaz is occupied, and Ali's going to come and finish him off. Azza has to do it all here. Stuck in the corner of the bomb site, and he can't do enough. 2 versus 2 now for Renegades. They've lost the upper bomb site. X7 and LXCB don't have much in the way of utility left. Just one Molotov on LXCB, and they have to go for the plant. And Renegades are already in position. They might have a good shout for this one.
LXCB's got a Molotov. Does it go to the heaven position? Does he feel like he's safe to throw it? That would be an MVP play at the moment. He might not realize he's got it if he just walks and picks it up. Second CT makes his way into that position. X7 holding the angle. LXCB looking for the squeaky door, which is being blown off for the time being. Gratisfaction flying to his doom. Stereo frags for ENCE. And they're on the board again, 5-2.
Only Simple can do that, Gratisfaction. You've got to be careful with that AWP, the flying AWP. And indeed, ENCE. It's such a big round to win. Renegades, of course, do still have some bank to work with, but they've got to pick and choose carefully. Gratisfaction would be able to purchase an AWP, but we've got JChem, JKS, and Liaz all under $4,000. So it's not really an ideal situation for them to do a fully committed buy. But you know, in doing so, in doing that eco round, you're going to be conceding another round most likely to ENCE. And you know what? They're going to go for it because they can get the AWP on Gratisfaction. We're going to actually see a full buy from Renegades here. A lot is going to be left to be decided in terms of the buy for JKS, Liaz, and Jacob. I'd imagine we're going to see some SMGs and lack of utility. Okay, looks like we get an M4 onto JChem. So there will be firepower in this round. But the issue, James, is that Renegades can't really play a long drawn-out round. They can't really play retakes. They have to try to take the initiative early in this round.
It's interesting. If you look at the Gratisfaction's got 1 kill at the moment, but let's not forget how important he was with that 1 kill towards the ramp, holding up ENCE for one of the rounds. Renegades were successful. Aerial taken down early. Another quick 5 versus 4 for Renegades. Much needed with their lack of utility, the shortcomings they have in this round. The UMP, the MP9. Gratisfaction not shy to jump peek for information. It's Zone. Oh, sit down, sir. Never mind everything I was about to say. But still, they retain the man advantage. Jacob is there to trade, and more importantly, to hold position. ENCE can't be in secret, and that's huge info for Renegades with only 3 ENCE players remaining.
That's a disgusting shot from Ali. But indeed, we'll have to see if it's going to amount to anything that ENCE can really work with as the time is running lower and lower. And they finally start to make their move towards the outside where now Jacob is there with the AWP. They had a bait set up between Jacob and Gratisfaction. Jacob will take over the AWPing duties now he's collected the fallen AWP. And he's going to see X7 soon. Oh, that might have been the chance for X7 there. You can see that the rotation comes in immediately. Jacob doesn't risk another peek, gets the info that X7 is moving outside by himself, and that's going to tell them quite a lot here. They can definitely deduce that upper play is incoming, and here it goes. Trying to find Liaz, and eventually he will go down. Azza from the corner gets himself a double. That leaves Renegades in a favorable situation. A 2 versus 1, but they will have to retake with the bomb down.
Smoke to create some space. He might hear one of the CTs in the lobby position. You saw some running there on the X-ray. Jacob comes up. Is it too early? Pulling out the CZ. How on earth has he got that kill? Through the smoke, JKS will trade. There were so many chances there for X7. He must have heard the running in the lobby position. 1v1 versus an up the ladder. Almost, but not quite. Renegades managed to hold on, but look at their money. Their money absolutely sucks. Liaz has got nothing, literally nothing in the bank, so the next buy is going to be a difficult one for Renegades, and ENCE might have a chance to reset.
Yeah, it's going to be really telling around this next one, and I've got to say, speaking of things that are telling, X7, you know, that kind of first whiff there, he looks really uncomfortable. And
it's got to be nerves, man.
Yeah, it does look a lot like that, yeah, which it was not something I would expect to that degree. So we'll see if they can kind of calm the camp there, the ENCE camp, as we do get a respite in this freeze time, a moment to breathe. But here we go, once again back into it. Round 9 begins, and as James mentioned, Renegades spending absolutely everything, but ENCE are in the same boat. They've got no money left as well. So this is a huge round, and here we go. We get the drop down the vent straight away, coming in from ENCE. Fast positioning, and alu picks off Jake, and Renegades are in troubled waters.
Do they realize that Alexi B is in or near around the B bomb site? That's been a consistent issue for Renegades so far. That will certainly help though. 4v4. They continue to look outside. Now, in some older games of Nuke, we can see JKS, he realizes, you can see where he's aiming. I was going to say, do ENCE open a door downstairs while there's some spray upstairs? Do they smash a window downstairs while they're making noise somehow to allow XCB to advance his position? But that's not happening, and he's looking for someone to rotate and try and defend, but maybe they realize they've got some power with those sound cues, so they'll just hold towards the ramp. That gap could be painful. Not crossing it just yet. Running over now, they've got a flashbang to help them. Doesn't quite go far enough. And they know that the secret area has been compromised. But what can Alexi do from this position? He's waiting for the CT rotation. He hasn't seen Azza, who's made his way onto the elevated position. Alexi focusing on the ramp area. JKS is there as well. Azza might get 2. King of the multi-frag, but not on this occasion. JKS has been waiting. 30 seconds on the clock, and now it's 2 versus 2. Sergey and his teammate need to get that bomb down. Sergey might just see Gratisfaction, who goes for the alternative angle. That won't work out. Now Liaz, he doesn't have the range of an MP9. So far, so good though. Looking for the second one, but he can't quite get there. Sergey, the last man standing, gets the round for ENCE.
What a critical round to pick up for ENCE. Absolutely smashing the economy of Renegades. They are in so much trouble now. Oh, that was so huge. Really clutch stuff running in down onto that lower bomb side. Things looked pretty grim from time to time, but they managed to make it work. And that is what is important. And I feel like, you know, as we see these rounds build, as we see ENCE begin to win these fights, we're going to see them be much more confident. I am still seeing from Renegades, though, they're bringing that individual performance we saw from the first map, but they're not really finding enough spots to really convert to those round wins. We get a fast run here from ENCE to play against the eco of Renegades, although Liaz has picked up a headshot with a P250. That's not ideal, and now Ariel might have to try to protect the weapon.
The rest of ENCE are moving towards that ramp position, and it seems Ariel will fall back further to try and avoid being swarmed, spotting some of Azza. So keeping the CTs honest, but if he is to fall there, then that would be a really dangerous situation for ENCE. So he's got to be careful. If there's a push through lobby, for example, then things could get super weird, but he's still trying to protect the weapon for now, and you can see the hunger on the CTs, but now they're starting to swarm and get a little closer. Ariel doing an okay job for now, but soon he'll run low on bullets. You can hear it. He's got to pull a pistol out. There's one elevated, and he will fall. So it's going to be 2 AK-47s in a 3 versus 3. That bomb hasn't been down for too long. They could consider something here, Renegades.
Yeah, absolutely, and these AKs are just huge going forwards, especially again seeing some of the performances we have on Renegades, but you know, effectively that's going to save Renegades, what, $6,000 or so moving forwards, and that is very much needed as their economy has been quite stretched. But there goes JKS, that's one of the guns gone. Gratisfaction needs to stay alive with his. Of course, he really wants to do some damage to the economy of ENCE, but you've got to keep that AK at this point. Spray comes through, but it's unlikely to find the kill, and indeed it will not. So just one AK collected in the end by Renegades. So back into the buy they'll go, but they're looking down at the scoreline right now, and their deficit is not too good. 3 against the 7 of ENCE.
At this point, if you're Renegades, I think you need to start asking how many rounds do we need at a minimum for this half. You can see there are some frustrations now on one of the more consistent players for Renegades. 3 rounds on the board. Do you aim for 6? Do you aim for 7 maybe? Let's see. Ariel has got a place to be. He's got his bus ticket in hand, and seems the rest of the team do as well. Once again, a giant hole in that short position, or is it? Azza, he gets a team kill assist, so there will be 2 falling for ENCE, but a bomb will be planted quickly.
Yeah, those 2 kills really make all the difference. Ali will take down Jacob outside, but right now it's more about that lower bomb side. Alexi B threatening the flank, and with all of that, that means that X7 is actually alone on the bomb side. He's alone, and that means Alexi B has to play his card, and he'll go forwards, and Gratisfaction will take him down. And now Alu has to save the day. 1 versus 3. That bomb is freshly planted here. Renegades start to apply the pressure as they go for the bomb defuse, but Alu's going to have the spray. Nade in his hand, smoked off, has to go through with the flashbang, doing what he can, but it is not enough, and Renegades with the steal.
It's unfortunate for Alu trying to make a play through the site. He had the angle for the bomb plant, Could have estimated it, but with the CT so close, it might have insta-punished him through the smoke. Who knows? No perfect play in that situation. Renegades managed to survive. Again, we raise a question as to what the minimum number of CT rounds is for them in this half. That was a beautiful adjustment from Gratisfaction. Spins his mouse and afflicts the correction at the end. Marvelous stuff. They've got 4 rounds on the board. Can they make it to 6? Short-term goals. Make it to 6 and then set another goal after that. Both teams will be on the bye. That bomb plant is really crucial for ENCE. You can see the limitations in their grenades. They've got the rifles out for the most part. Well, for all the part. Everybody's on the rifles, no SMGs or funny business like that. Renegades have a different approach to dealing with that squeaky position, going down the vents, just having Azza there waiting to delete people. He's pretty good at that.
How much can Gratisfaction do here? Jakin will slow them down. That will allow Gratisfaction more time on the peak. Oh, Lexi B, great return there onto Grat. So it will be a 1-for-1 after all. But you can see the information was gained there. They saw a lot on the radar. Ali will pick off Jakin though. That's a problem now for Renegades because Lexi B is going to feel more confident now, pushing outside as well as the lower position as well towards Secret. Both positions have been compromised. It feels like the map is being constricted around Renegades and their defense at this point. JKS still has the ramp, but you can see that he's going to try to make a play here. They've got to do something to get information, to try to take initiative, because ENCE are in a very strong position, and they're trying to wait out a play like this, but do they have the right guess?
Sergey may have heard Azza jumping into the vent earlier on. Not 100% sure. There's going to be a high variance situation now in the lobby, but Sergey's the one to look first. Alu still waiting, misses his shot. But that's one of the 2 players remaining. They know where he is, so they can use the numbers, abuse the numbers towards this A bomb site. Now they know Azza's the last man standing towards Secret. His options have been taken away. Such a joy to watch Azza in this match so far. The multi-frags in that first map were awesome. The whole team of Renegades been firing on all cylinders since they started winning matches in the last stage. But ENCE are about to move to 8 unless Azza's got some funky business.
Yeah, and the problem for Renegades too is that the kind of pattern of the rounds in which they have won means that their loss bonus is not going to be quite as good as you'd like. So we'll see what they'll be bringing into the next round, but I don't know that it will really be all that much. ENCE are now so strong. They're looking for the double digits for sure at this point, as they're trying to survive. ENCE are trying to hunt him down, and there it is. Alexi B will take down Azza. All the weapons removed from Renegades, and indeed, it's $2,000 to $3,000 for the Renegades players, so they need to go for a save, buy a few PT50s, a flashbang, something like that, and ENCE will be likely picking up that 9th one pretty soon.
Renegades' loss bonus is not amazing, and indeed, they are broke as pokers. There will not be much to bring into this round. The CZ for Azza, the P250 for JKS, and that might be about it. No grenades, no nothing. So we'll see how they choose to abuse something. I mean, all they have really to abuse is their numbers to trade. Someone's got to take a bullet for the president if they choose to make an aggression somewhere. But of course, that will be looked for, and ENCE have time. So hard to decide when to make a play, but it looks like Renegades could burst from garage and main at the same time around this outside position. But it's all guesswork. The smoke grenades will isolate the options. X7's got to be careful. That smoke will help, but when you stand up there, your shadow is shown at the bottom of main. That's one taken down. The smoke will obscure their vision. Oh, that's an AK in a very difficult place to protect now. Again, that's one use for HE grenades. Oh my god, he's thrown his gun away, and he could have been facing 2 with the dualies. That will certainly help. Alu doing it in style. But there's still a gun on the floor as they're jumping towards that vent position. There's some spray, but oh dear. Is there a trade? There is a trade. Lexi B will take care of the rest. Okay, everything's fine. That could have been really awkward, but it wasn't. 9 rounds for ENCE.
Yeah, it's definitely looking a lot better. But in comes the buy once more for Renegades, and I'm wondering if, I don't know that they will be able to get the AWP onto Gratisfaction, so they may have a different style of play moving into this round. We'll have to see how heavily they'll contest the outside. It would be quite cool to see an aggressive setup, 2 to 3 players from Renegades early in the round. We'll find out very shortly. Only with the 1 kit on JKS, you can see some of the limitations, some of the shortcomings of the Renegades economy. And indeed, they'll be pushing 2 players outside quite aggressively with these M4s, and there is Gratisfaction back there as well, who can, of course, offer support from further away. Ariel is investigating. You do need to deal with any CTs if they are close in these positions. Going through the smoke, very unfavorable, and Azza will punish and pick up the AK for his trouble.
High-risk situation there for Ariel. What if you're wrong? If you're wrong, you're dead. LXCB trying to make his way through the A-bomb site, but he sees absolutely nothing. As they're charging through the smoke now, so many CTs, but a Tracer goes back and forth. 1v3 for Sergey, only for half a second. Renegades prevail. They survive with 3 players moving into the last round of the first half. Really important for them. They need that extra cash. That was a fast one, but a brief one at the same time. 5 rounds on the board. Still a chance for those 6 rounds for Renegades, and maybe that will be enough.
Yeah, I think, you know, if they can show a T side, obviously they won't have quite the T side they had on Mirage in terms of preparedness and comfort, but definitely, you know, 6 rounds is enough to work with on that CT side. But we'll see if they can get that 6th one. Here we go. Final rounds of the first half. They won't have an AWP, the Renegades, but they've also changed their approach pretty dramatically. No aggression outside, because the ENCE were looking for it, but it won't be there. Instead, a more passive and slower approach from Renegades. Looking to get the information is Gratisfaction as he moves towards Secret. Also try to slow them down. J-Chem can play off of Gratisfaction. And there goes the flashbang. That is lethal. J-Chem with the AK. Finds a fast headshot and falls straight back. No punish possible. That's a good way to take an advantage.
That is a very strong statement from J-Chem. Some late momentum for Renegades in the first half, excuse me. Smoke towards main, but J-Chem will not respect it. Again, he will have a small shadow advantage. You can see one here, LXCB taken out for free. He would have one on the high ground as well, so he'll fade away with that. It's going to be really hard for ENCE to do anything, I think, in this round. X7 just running in for Sergey to trade, but there's no trade. Very awkward angle. Liaz makes it as hard as possible, and Ariel requires an ace now with 44 seconds on the clock, but J-Chem says no. 6 rounds for Renegades at half-time, a nice comeback late on in the first half.
Yeah, a recovery, and I think you're right, James. You know, there is work to be done here for Renegades. They're going to be feeling a lot better about this new performance than their last one. So we'll have to see if they can do anything about this match, and maybe Chad's prophecy can come true, and they'll get that 2-0. But we will find out after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Can Renegades make a comeback in this second half? Of course, on this map, on Nuke, you expect to see more dominant CT sides, more rounds on that CT sides, but this is the major playoffs. Anything can happen, and Renegades have already showed us that they have definitely woken up on the right side of the bed today because they are hitting some shots. And now they move on to the T side, and let's not forget that T side they had on map 1. Again, sure, it will be more difficult for them on Nuke, but there is definitely a lot of work to be done here. And we'll be starting off with a molly and smoke on Azza. JKS will dump all the nades towards the squeaky door, towards that vent, as is so common. And then we'll try to investigate with a cursory jab or two from Alu.
Now, this could be a trap. Having blown off the door, you have to be worried if you're a CT player. And here is the fake being offered into the A-bomb site. Will it pull rotation? X7 will spot a lot of players coming towards the ramp. He backs off. He's got some information. Time to rotate for ENCE, but can he be sure of anything at this point? No frags just yet. Loads of Renegades players moving towards control. The bomb's going to be dropping. X7 trying to fall back to reload. Jacob with 2. X7 trying to do more. 3 from Jacob. Looking for an ace. We've got Sergey coming in from the back and Alu hiding on the site. Renegades holding position now by the double doors, waiting for a response from ENCE.
They're really making them sweat it out. A minute. That is a long time. Lots of time to play with. Lots of time in which ENCE might make a mistake. As Renegades have, as you say, just completely cut noise, being static. And the longer they do this, the more space ENCE have to move around. But there goes the smoke, making it safe. Alu not wanting to throw any shots across. Bomb's going to go down. And now Renegades have defensive positions. It's going to take something special here for ENCE to find the headshots they need, because they're going to have to attack into these dug-in positions, or maybe not. Jacob's going out. He's going to find himself the 4th kill. Sergey takes down JKS. And, well, there it is to shut down. Liaz secures it. But what a performance in this round from Jacob with the quad kill.
At half-time, I was saying to Dan that I'm kind of worried if I'm an ENCE fan right now. Renegades with 6 rounds on the board. I don't know, man. They're looking like a better team at the moment, despite the issues they've had historically on Nuke. They've got 6 rounds on the board on their CT side. They've looked more confident, more decisive, and we've just seen better fragging from Renegades overall in this series, and that might be enough for them to find themselves a 2-0. They win the pistol. So now we're in a really interesting situation. The match is paused. Looks like a tech pause at present. There's no buying from ENCE just yet, but again, this is scary.
Yeah, it's extremely scary. Because indeed, as you say, Renegades have put ENCE in the position that ENCE put them in, which is you have this CD side where you want to have the AWP, you want to have all the utility in the world. And now Renegades could just take over the money game, and that makes it a situation where you have to take more risks on the CT side to get that momentum back in your favor. So yeah, no one wants to play from that position. And also, Renegades are a team where, as you just mentioned about the individual ability, they can play the basics on these T-sides really well in terms of playing the trade game. And if they focus around a more simplistic game plan like that, given the level that we have seen from every single player on Renegades individually, it makes me confident that that could even be enough. And as you say, James, maybe what if there's a breakdown in ENCE? What if there's some tilting that happens? It's hard to say. We'll find out all those answers out very shortly. But there is, of course, the opening rounds on the first half of this series. You get to see that dominance initially from ENCE. JKS shows up.
All right, tech pause has been sorted out, and we will soon be back into the game. It is not going to be the sexiest round. It looks like it's an eco for ENCE, and the match has been paused again, so never mind. Maybe it'll be a slightly longer delay. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm terrified for my pick'ems. Okay, the unpause is coming in again, so we're only a few seconds away. Might be a good day for ENCE fans. It might not be. Renegades seem to be in the driving seat despite being 2 rounds behind. Of course, they did win the pistol. That's quite nice.
That's beautiful.
That's a very nice touch.
That is beautiful. I love it.
Artistic direction. Thumbs up from me. And into the game we go. So indeed, it will be an eco round from ENCE. They're not really spending much of anything, if anything. They will just be targets, moving targets like it's a training map. That's how it should go. But this is going to be good just to watch Renegades and see how they deal with an anti-eco situation. Of course, we always bring it into question. It has vastly improved in this tournament, and we can see that they already have a player down in that secret position. They're keeping the CTs honest in the upper area, just making sure nothing untoward is going on. As it can move towards control, have a look through the windows, and Renegades can try and figure out where ENCE may be playing.
Yeah, and it should be pretty easy to adjust here for Renegades. Even if they do get into a spot of bother, they should be able to trade things out. They're playing against just absolutely nothing, so should be easy to control the situation. There's already enough information gained here by Renegades, and you can see them start to communicate that, and as it's going to get his team, rally his team towards this ramp position, and you can see everything's clear. So they've got a clear line to that bomb site now. I do wonder, how this will go, because if we think back to Mirage, ENCE opted to do a similar approach in which they didn't go for a force buy, and they get the buy-in on the following round, as you would. The thing, though, is that there is always shortcomings with that buy because you can't have the AWP. You'll be limited on the utility if you want to opt for the firepower. Oh, hello. 7, maybe with a chance. There it is. All right. So we'll get the UMP stolen away.
I didn't see or hear the glass get broken on this window pane, so I'm not sure who smashed it. I'll assume it was He got a lot of information in this round, and now ENCE will try to smoke. So they'll do what they can. They'll try to make it somewhat expensive. Those are 2 frags they find themselves with now, and Ariel's the last man standing. Got himself an AK-47 though. Distraction being run from one rifle, and another one to collect the final frag. And here we go, 8 to 9, 3 players surviving for Renegades. All good in the hood, and it's time to buy for ENCE.
Yeah, we'll see where the shortcomings are. And as I mentioned, because if you're on the T side and you understand specifically how much money your opponent has and maybe that they can't get full utility, sometimes it's just a clue that they're going to play a bit more aggressive because they will have more disadvantages playing those slower rounds, those late rounds with less utility, so they'll want to get a kill early. So we'll see what ENCE do if they try to go for a play like that or if they just try to play very passive here on this CT side. Ariel will take a forward position behind the smoke. He doesn't really have too much support though, so you can see he backs away, just trying to get that early information.
Alu moving around events just in case. They're keeping a keen eye on that. You can see Renegades are lined up to deploy some grenades outside. Alu may do some spotting. Now at this point, there's 1:20 on the clock. ENCE have 1 flashbang. So if they want to make a play around Secret or something like that, or anywhere else, they've got 1 flash with which to do it. Alexi B looks to be deploying it somewhere. Out the flash goes. There we go. But they're not in position to do anything with it. The smokes are up. They've been isolated from their positions, and Alexi B has been taken out. JKS has been traded by Sergey. But you can see the nervousness from Ariel. He has no idea what's going on. He looks like he's in a really nervous situation.
Yeah, the trade is very likely here. Ariel's got a lot of work to do with this M4. They're trying to do what he can, but he can't find anything, looking the wrong direction. X7 will get a trade from Hell, but there's much more work to be done. Down to half health, they know exactly where he is. Gratisfaction takes the challenge. Dancing around the crate with the Krieg is a play that will work out, as now it's just 2 remaining for ENCE. As Alu tries to capitalize on the push into Hell, but they just cannot win these 1v1s, James. And now it's up to Sergey. He's picked up an AK, which I believe he stole from JKS, but it's going to be difficult. He'll be going down the vents. They don't. Oh, this Vias is waiting, and that will be a wrap. Great round from Renegades, and once again, we have this situation, and just couldn't find a way to take the initiative with their utility. It felt like that flash outside had to be more.
That was a terrifying to watch from ENCE's point of view. Again, they had almost no utility, fair enough. The flash comes out, but the smoke grenades were in the right place for Renegades, so ENCE weren't able to do whatever it was they wanted to do. But then while the smokes were up, they just seemed to be in bad spots, but not really choosing to move back, just being in such a deep, committed position and looking in 2 almost opposite directions. Like, that's just terrifying to watch, basically. So they just got picked apart. Renegades pulling the scab off the wound and now rubbing some vinegar in there as well. Sergey with Kevlar and a Desert Eagle will be having a look-see, having a look around. ENCE are at maximum loss bonus. So again, he's just trying to keep that T economy honest as they look to start off on the right foot in the next round.
Nasty.
That's a nice frag. It will draw attention. Got some grenades to limit his options. Gratisfaction doesn't want to go too far. No need to give a 1 versus 1. Okay, unless you're supremely confident and you just don't give a damn, in which case, more power to you. Double figures now for Renegades.
Absolutely. And this round will be very different because ENCE won't feel, I think, the pressure that we had on that previous buy round where they were low on utility to try to get some action happening early on and then just being denied. We're going to see the AWP will see the full amount of utility behind this buy for ENCE. So they're in a position going into this round where they should be very confident and they can play that slow roll approach. Renegades, on the other hand, they're going to realize that too. They understand that they need to, if they have a really good round, James, I think we need to see it here. And Renegades can then assert the momentum of that.
I do wonder if ENCE spent too much money in that eco round, because when you look at the full buy here, they don't have all the grenades in the world. Ali had to be dropped in AWP because he didn't have enough cash to buy one himself, although X7 is still holding it for the time being. But you can see that there's a few players who are missing some grenades, so I do wonder if they just invested a little too much in that previous round. So maybe X7's playing a spawn, we shall see. He's going towards the ramp with the AWP. And in the meantime, Renegades take position in the lobby. No AWP for them. Gratisfaction does have a scope, however. He's got the Krieg instead. Azza looking to cause some problems outside while Renegades look to focus on the ramp.
Yeah, X7 had that most forward spawn. Oh, there goes the flash. That is beautiful. X7 barely had any time to react to that one. And just that, just like that, $200, boom. You got yourself ramp control, you got yourself the lower bomb site control, and X7 is all he can do to communicate to his teammates. But Renegades are already on top of the site. What a fast-moving round. X7, that's a fantastic shot straight to the face of Granite's faction. And he will be able to hold on to some of those more forward positions that Renegades really need. The push comes out of the door, and Jacob can't defend it.
That is rude from ENCE. They've got a man advantage. They so need this round, and they need all these players to survive. Azza has time. If ENCE are nervous, they might make a mistake. There are 3 players alive. 2 of them are heavily tagged. You can see Alexi B, I think he's got an elevated position, which will make things more difficult, but still, Azza, that was a bad peek for him, but he still got the kill somehow. 19 HP. 2 more players to find. You see X7 repositioning. Again, ENCE, I don't think they've won a round in this half so far, and this has to be a nervous situation. He could be moving into a crossfire. He's got to be careful. Try and check all the angles. There's a distraction being run, and Ali will deliver the kill, but that extra frag from Azza may go a long way in the future rounds. The score is tied, but it really does feel like all advantages for Renegades at the moment.
Yeah, I completely agree. That extra kill could really be huge, and honestly, you know, it's so scary that individually Renegades are overpowering ENCE in most of the time. As you say, that peak is actually a terrible peak. Like, not only is like a left eye peak versus the right eye peak, the other, you know, you're against an elevated position, so kind of nutty that he picked that one up. But Azza's really showed up to this major.
I did wonder if Renegades would cool off after the break from the previous stage, because they were all running super hot like lava. But here they are, as they're still doing damage towards the end there. And the score is tied, but they do look so much more dangerous. And just the expressions on their faces, yes, not the most expressive necessarily on a good day, but after winning the pistol in the first half, we saw frustrations, at least in the communication, it seemed, on the cameras. So I do wonder where their heads are at, ENCE, but they're still in with a chance. 10-10 at the moment. Lexi B on the Mag 7. They've got a better situation in terms of grenades. This might be a fast one into the A bomb site with a grenade from Azza being lined up. Lexi B's got no idea there's a player behind him. No idea whatsoever. JKS wipes out the A site. This is a disaster for ENCE very, very quickly indeed.
Oh my god, they don't have any money. They actually just have to save. They just have to straight save. In the first 20 seconds of the round, a save is called. That is brutal. What a timing coming in, and indeed, as you mentioned, you know, the Mag 7 not understanding that JKS was so far forward. JKS with those entries, so violent, just swinging through with 2 instant picks, and that's really created problems here for ENCE. Their money, this could be another situation, James, where they're just battling to just have money for the entire half, as we saw on the first map, and we know how that went for them. Ariel, you can see, might be the next player to have contact, trying to hold on to the AK-47. So critical that he holds on to this. And Renegades don't have great money either, so you can see that they are being slightly more conservative, not really committing for the hunt. And there it is, 11-10.
Just like that. Blink of an eye and the round is over. If the T side can keep a CT side living paycheck to paycheck, then there's so much you can do. And it forces the CTs into conservative decisions, into being afraid, into being nervous. Renegades have not allowed, in this entire series, ENCE to have a feeling of comfort, of confidence at all, on either half, in any round. One round won by ENCE in this half so far. This is the CT side of Nuke. Yeah, we were talking about the shortcomings for Renegades, but look at ENCE.
Absolutely, they are in trouble, for sure. Alu, though, has the AWP looking for that fast play through the door, and it will not happen. Renegades are playing a slower round. They're focusing towards that outside control, and they're also looking for any plays, any forward pushes that could be made for by ENCE. Obviously, there's so many different aggressive setups you can have on the CT side, so many things that you have to worry about if you're a T side to clear. And really, it's just going to be Alu, and how much can he do here? He's got, actually, no, he's got Ariel from main as well, who can offer something, although the smokes will come in to deny information. Ariel is committing himself here. How many can he get? The flashbang comes out. Renegades checking it. That's beautiful work from them. Very cognizant of these forward plays, and now ENCE are in trouble.
No support flashes that I could see for Ariel when he went down there. Ali was smoked off, but I didn't see any utility, just some pot shots to try and run distraction, and there are problems for ENCE again. Just shy of a minute on the clock for Renegades to capitalize on their advantages to pull ENCE out of position. They've got to worry about B. They need to worry about the Heaven position being flanked as well. Renegades still have their options available to them, and how on earth could you possibly try to go down this vent as an ENCE player unless the players towards the ramp are successful. The MP9, maybe they did it. There will be frags elsewhere. Sergey being taken out. There's a quick peek, and Liaz is going to die while the bomb's getting planted. Spray from Gratisfaction. 2 versus 2, doing the best he can, looking for that second player to come through, and it's Alexi by the double doors.
That is so huge that that information just came in the doors there. So Gratisfaction knows where the last 2 players are. He needs JKS to activate to get him out of trouble. JKS needs to push faster. Gratisfaction will be pushed down in the corner, trying to survive for as long as he can, but they don't know where JKS is. Maybe, just maybe, enough time was bought. Holding the defuse. There goes JKS! He picks it up, and that is so bad for ENCE. I cannot express it enough. What a save from JKS. Swinging in at the perfect moment. Gratisfaction buying time so that he could actually go and do that to make that play to save the round. And Renegades, James, they move to 12. They're 4 away from 2-0ing ENCE here and making their way to the semifinals.
This is absolutely crazy. I don't know if there was some confusion in the comms or something, or ENCE were convinced that the player was coming from Decon. Double doors were open for business, and it was 3 kills towards the end of that round for Renegades. And ENCE are in a forced buy situation. They've got almost no utility. They've not had any success really on the outside. Aerial, they may be good for 2. He won't be. Fast moving round now. Alu looking for T's, moving into the A site and moving along the outside, being really careful. You can see the nerves here for ENCE. They've got a man advantage for the time being, trying to keep control of that squeaky door position. It's been blown off, and that might come into play later.
Once again, there's no nades now ready for ENCE at this point. Oh, the miss there is huge. What a huge miss from Alu there. That is a problem. I don't know what you're going to do about that, because now the bomb site's gone. That was a shot that's supposed to connect, an eye entry, and now Alexi B swings in, gets punished by JKS, gets caught out of position, and JKS doesn't stop, gets himself a triple in this round. And Renegades, they shouldn't have been able to make that work so clean, James.
ENCE, I don't know if they're having a giant adrenaline dump or what, but honestly, like, the score doesn't tell the story. Look at the half. Look at the half. It is 7 rounds to 1 for ENCE on the CT side of Nuke. They're not having success outside. They're not having success inside. They're being out-aimed. They're being out-fragged. They are being dominated and exploited by the likes of Renegades, who are 3 rounds away from a 2-0.
Oh, you can see how bad that feels. The frustration there for Alu. For me, you know, I really had this series as pretty much everybody else did. I felt like it was just going to be won on the map pool. I felt like Renegades wouldn't match up against ENCE's map pool, and that was going to be a wrap, and that a 2-1 would maybe be the best case. But Renegades here have shown their focus and have shown their preparation, their composure. They had a rough couple months leading up to the major. You could see that, you know, they went down 0-2, James. They managed to fight their way back. They ran it all the way back, and over the course of the tournament, they started to, you know, get rid of that ring rust, started to, you know, really feel out their gameplay. And look at them now, peaking at the correct moment. But it's not done just yet. Although that said, ENCE are in a very weak position now. They're on a save. They do have a few dangerous weapons, but ultimately, they don't really have that much.
ENCE are in so much trouble. They've been in trouble since the beginning of the series, and it has not improved. It has not got better, it's only got worse. Renegades in full control. These rounds haven't been much of an issue. There was a scare maybe once in this series so far, and they deal with it for the most part. Gratisfaction to 180, okay. And there it is. Doesn't matter at this point how many frags you get. It's 14-10.
Yep. And this is that spot to the experience starts to be really important. You're about to get it over the line. Everything looks like it's stacked in your favor. Everybody's hitting their shots. You know, the other team looks like they're broken. They're whiffing. The pressure's getting to them. You are in the position where you can just clinch the match. And that's the spot where you have to make sure you don't defeat yourself. But I do think that Renegades, all these players, they have a lot of experience now. They should be good to go, keeping themselves focused until the job has been done.
With the consistent performance we have seen of late from Renegades, you do wonder how far they can go. Big round for ENCE. It has to be now. It has to be now. They can't fail anymore. They can't be dominated anymore by the likes of Renegades, who are looking for some kind of aggression. There are more grenades now for ENCE. You can see those grenades around main. They've been such a problem for ENCE to deal with, but this time they won't be in awkward positions on the outside. They won't be isolated, trying to look in 2 directions at once. Renegades lining up around that squeaky position in the meantime, with angles towards the roof. Alexi B's going to get taken out. They've pulled plays out of position. The flashbangs are still good. Sergey, can he find two? He's got to find two. He does. He keeps it. Keeps him in with a chance. X7's got to be careful. He can't fight to the death. He can't make it 1 versus 3 for Aerial.
Oh, the bomb's gone down as well. Aerial will pick up a frag. X7 swings in at the perfect moment, but now it's down to Azza. He has a lead on the health. He's only got a couple flashbacks, but he has plenty of time. Aerial nails it. Azza's done. And then stay alive for another round in this one, but their money is not perfect, James, and Renegades have very deep pockets, so they're going to be loving it.
That could be a blessing in disguise for Renegades. It's going to be harder for ENCE to defend with less than they had in the previous round. But it seems we do have a crowd here after all. They've been quiet for a while. 3 rounds behind are ENCE. It's not too late to turn things around, but this time they're fighting with pots and pans. MP9s, French guns are out. There are 3 defuse kits on the 5 players. Could be a fast one from Renegades. We've got smoke grenades to isolate Aerial from his position. LXB with the MP9 can't even get a crosshair in the right place. Sergey's in a horrible position. Again, can he find 2? He can't. Look at all the frags. Alu is 1 versus 4 with 1:35. And he is going to be hunted. Surely Renegades are on the cusp of something great.
Alu will do what he can. Needs to keep this AWP really if he can, and getting a forward kill will be a good way to do it, but there it is, a better peak for Gratisfaction, and 15-11, match point for Renegades, looking at securing a spot in the semi-finals here at the Berlin Major. I think pretty much everybody, except Chad, of course, had them pegged to be defeated against ENCE. Even though, Alexi B is on the way out, it didn't seem to really impact the team and their performance in the stages of the major leading into this. But now we see the weakness, but also, I think more importantly, we see the hard work, the grit, the determination. We see the strength from Renegades, and it is something to witness. I'm really enjoying thoroughly the Counter-Strike that they're showing us.
Tack timeout from Renegades, keeping the focus. The game is not won yet. You're still playing a very dangerous opponent, a very high-ranked opponent, and they're only 4 rounds behind. They've got nothing to fight with, but nothing can be taken for granted. This half has been 9-2 for Renegades. ENCE have gone missing almost all the time. They've been reset every time they've won a round, and there are almost no more rounds to win for them. Only 4 players with SMGs, X7 with a Deagle. You can't have a round prepared for something like this if you're ENCE. Surely, this is it for Renegades.
Yeah, I mean, these are the ones, right, that are very dangerous because the pacing of them can be very quick and very difficult to prepare yourself for. So, Renegades trying to... They had the pause. They know exactly what's coming in this round. They know that ENCE are on the ropes economically. They know that ENCE are going to be buying everything, that there's going to be SMGs, there'll be forward setups, there'll be all kinds of tricks. ENCE have to pull every single trick out of the bag to stay alive. And Aerial will be perhaps the first hurdle for Renegades as they start to progress in the outside positions. Lots of presence shown here from Renegades. No smokes just yet, though. We'll see them thrown across just now. Always trying to mix up the timings of that. There goes the push. Aerial will catch one, pushing out with those smokes from main. There's a chance here for ENCE. In comes Jacob for the punish. Wow, okay, that fair enough. The UMP, the vertical shot works out for Aerial.
40 seconds for Renegades. Alexi B's in a really tough spot to deal with. Liaz has got a pre-fire, a different angle, but he walks through at the wrong time. It's a 5 versus 2. Maybe there was no need to push forward, but how could you expect someone to be there? 30 seconds and it could be a question of damage at this point for Renegades, because if they take players out, if they stop them from collecting rifles, should they lose the round, then that might be enough for the rounds to come. Oh, Sergey, he's being careful. He's shown presence, but maybe it's best to fall back now with the MP9. 14 seconds remain. They've got to find some players to frag at least. Alu showing some presence, and there's Sergey from the back. And ENCE make it to 12.
All right, so so there's a couple of things going on there, of course. One, again, Renegades perhaps not going to have the cleanest drills when it comes to handling rounds like that. And it seemed like they didn't quite know what to do, especially after losing a fight against Aerial there, when he picked a really good timing to swing out as those smokes came in from Renegades. And then they just slowed down, and the SMGs are so fast moving. However, it feels like they're up against rifles again now, James. They've been successful the whole half against rifles. They should be fine.
Where are the ENCE fans at? You better make some noise for your team if you want them to win. That said, it's not too late to defect to Renegades. I'm sure Chad will forgive you. 1 minute 40. JKS is creeping. Will he be seen in the corner of the smoke? Alexi B's looking for it. He doesn't see him. That's a huge headshot for JKS. Closer to the smoke normally means a disadvantage, but Alexi couldn't see him. He couldn't see him, and it's a big 5 versus 4 for Renegades. That's the advantage they may have been fishing for in a previous round, and maybe it'll be enough this time. Again, it's not too late to defect. Turn your jersey inside out, maybe. But ENCE are still in this. They are still the ones with the map control, despite them being 4 versus 5.
Can you have a handful of flashbangs now, and the push comes in towards that lobby position. X7, he's going to make this huge, but it's absolutely nothing. It's all Renegades there. Alu is all that stands. 4 versus 1. 3 angry Aussies and an angry Norwegian there, ready to take this series against ENCE to push themselves into that semi-finals. All that stands in their way is Alu coming up into the heaven position, looking to get his first peek. He will be denied. Renegades through to the semis.
Massive performance from Renegades. They did not allow anything there for ENCE. Complete asphyxiation. That is a very big statement to the rest of the teams in this tournament. Renegades continue their consistency. Their reverse sweep goes even further, and ENCE were never in this game. They were never in this game.
James, watching Renegades right now across this major, it feels like I don't know, Dragon Ball Z or something. At the beginning, they look down and out. They always come up against opponents where we have them pegged to lose, but they find something. They dig deep, they find something, and they find just enough to take it over the line. This has been, I think, one of the most convincing wins against one of the strongest opponents in the tournament. And what does that say about the rest of the story for Renegades? I'm not sure exactly, but it's definitely good.
ENCE did not have to show so much to get to this point in the first place, but once they got here, they didn't really show anything at all. And you have to give a huge credit to Renegades. Their T-side of Mirage was absolutely beautiful. It was super strong. They were all over this game from start to finish. They silenced the crowd. They took everything away from ENCE, and they put themselves one step further to a finals match.
And they did it by showing us some of the most beautiful Counter-Strike with some of the best composure.
All right, well, you can see Renegades are still on the stage, and they've got a few words to say with Stunner.
Thank you very much, James. That's right, I'm standing here with the Renegades. I know they've got some fans in the house. I know that you guys just turned this place upside down, like where you're from. Pretty insane stuff. Azur, you've been leading the charge here for a while now. What do you have to say about your boys?
Everyone came out swinging today, and it was really good to see. I've got Alex behind me, leading the charge in the team, and we just came out confident, and we just did a really good job as a team, so I'm really proud of the boys.
Oh, the boys certainly celebrating the night. Let me talk to you right now, Kassad. Tell me about the feeling that you have after going out last major, top 8 to now.
We knew we can do better last time. You know, we were preparing for this for like 5 months last, you know. We've been preparing the crowd as well, you know.
Anything that you want to say to the crowd here, Azur, because there's a ton of Renegades fans. Even Chad is upstairs. He's cheering you guys on. It's the weirdest phenomenon in the world.
Just thanks for your support. We're loving it. We love the crowd. All the roars it's amazing. So, yeah.
Let's get some roars for the Renegades, ladies and gentlemen, in Berlin. They've done it in the quarterfinals.
0-2 down, and then back-to-back 4 best-of-3s. They weathered the storm not only of the Legends stage, but now stepping into the Champions and Victors. I'm joined by, of course, a member of the Renegades in a previous life, now turned analyst, Chad Sponge Birchall. You had a belief. You have doubted for so long. You know, you've often predicted against the Renegades. Usually. This event, you felt like they could do it. There was belief.
I got one thing to say, Alex. I only have one thing to say.
What's... Oh, dear.
No.
Security. What is this? There's liquid inside the chute. What is coming next? What's coming next? This is outrageous. Absolutely incredible scenes.
Are off to the semi-finals. Chad's off to celebrate with them. I guess we'll have to operate with a 3-man desk. I'll tidy up all of this mess. Oh my God, it is a nightmare down here. Don't look down there.
He didn't tell us he was doing that.
No, that's not.
Well, Chad Sponge Birchall, he predicted the Renegades would take it, and he has indeed celebrated. The only way I think a man like that can. Joining me, of course, Duncan Thornshields and Sean Gares to provide some insight. Guys, ENCE falling. They go from not dropping what seemed like a single game, a single double-digit scoreline to stepping into this top 8 and looking flat.
Yeah, I mean, this was Renegades showing up today. ENCE didn't look like they were in this game at all. I was impressed, honestly, even though that first half was 9-6, you could see minor adjustments in Renegades CT side Nuke play. That T side, though, ENCE did not see that coming, obviously because they had nothing to look at, right?
Yeah, no, precisely.
FaZe dominated them and didn't even allow Renegades to have their T side. Apparently, their T side is legit.
Yeah. It really was, and we'll continue to talk about it, but right now we have something to look at, and we have a rare opportunity, actually, to hear from the other side of the story. Yes, the Renegade through to the semis, but a team departs here, and it's ENCE. Let's see if we can hear a couple of words from them.
Back-to-back legends, back at the top 8. But unfortunately for ENCE and for Alexi B, the road ends here. Alexi B, it goes without being said that despite the extremely difficult circumstances in which you had to play at this major, today and throughout this major, you have played your heart out on the server. What's going through your head right now?
Nothing, actually. I'm just glad I'm here and all the fans giving me support and my family being here too.
You have created so many fans over this past year. Even if this is the last time that we get to see you wear this jersey, you have gained fans for the rest of your career who will be supporting you. Any final words for them?
Just thanks to everyone here. Thank you.
Give it up one last time for Alexi B.
In and out of the server, we talk about professionalism, and no exception there, of course, Alexi B. And taking a moment of his time, not always easy, and taking a moment of your time now to reflect upon this series. We started, and I think we'll just kind of come back to where we put a pin in it. The T side from Renegades is legit, Duncan.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what's interesting is Sean nailed it in the pregame. Like, this is the perfect pick-me-up map because you don't even actually have to have all your star players going off if you want to grind some rounds out. So if you're ENCE, you're thinking, first half went great, CT side, we'll get it going. CT side of both maps is what cost ENCE because the individual players never turned up. You look on the Renegades side, though, it's another game where everyone's spread across the scoreboard, everyone's contributed, every single player. I mean, it's an old-school throwback game. It was JKS and Azza.
Yeah.
Both maps who were leading the way and outclassing Sergey and Alu on the other side, who were the guys with the big stats.
And those two names have been trying again and again in the major circuit to make a dent. JKS and Azza, somewhat of a duo, are partners in crime. Well, now they're through to the semi-finals.
Constant improvements, right? Last major, we were shocked they got to the quarters. Here they're shocking us again. They're going to the semifinals. I mean,
they play like this, they go to the
contenders.
Final. That's not impossible.
They are absolute contenders on this side of the bracket to make the finals. And based on the map pool now, they can play Nuke. That opens up a lot for them.
So Nuke added to the list of Renegades maps. I mean, we saw the stats. Everything pointed to this being a weakness of the Renegades, but they talked about their hard work coming into this major, and I think this is somewhat of a demonstration, especially on a stage like this, with the performance on a map that statistically should not have looked that good.
It's like I said, the problem is, since people didn't know the real extent of how much the visa issues hit them and having a standing, and then basically by the time they got Gratisfaction back, it was straight off to the summer run, all those tournaments in a row going in the US, so they never really got a chance to actually retool their game, get themselves back to where they were when they were in the top 8 at the last major, when they were looking like a team who could have won the Star Series Season 7, had to play the Na'Vi team in the semi-finals, who was just on fire that day. That's the potential that we were looking to see. Funnily enough, like an ENCE had shown, where he'd risen up with this same core without the big fraggers. So I think one of the crazy things for me is I still don't look at this team and say, like, they have someone who's going to be the MVP of the tournament or one of the best players in the world. They don't. I tell you what, they've got a great T-side and they've got fantastic team play.
I will say this. We sat up here on the desk before the match went down, and we said JKS needed to show up, and he did. He came up huge time and time again for them throughout this series, whether it be in the clutches, the entry frag department. I think he had 5 or so entries in the first map, 4 on the second. I mean, he put in a lot of work on these maps, in my opinion.
Certainly, and actually, while we're looking at his highlights, I think the Jacob storyline is such a beautiful one. For those unfamiliar, the idea of a player who kind of felt like his best days were behind him. When were we going to see more from Jacob in Tier 1 Counter-Strike? He then presents himself as a stand-in, simply just there to fill the void, and something clicks.
Yeah, the thing people didn't realize was he was very young when he first came into those G2. I think he was like 19 or 20 at the time. So what happened was when he then ended up on the All-Star team before they became proper FaZe, where it was a bunch of good players but no real in-game leader, he was just lost in his role. Like I've talked to him at the time. There's a reason why he could have 29 kills on a map, and then he literally had one after that was like 3 kills. So this is a guy who didn't have confidence. He didn't know how to use himself. He went through the phase with Carrigan. Now he arrived at the Renegades. It was kind of a last chance saloon, really. I mean, they picked him up basically because they were looking for some European talent. They didn't want to go into the domestic pool again. So the idea that he's now gone back-to-back major legends, he's going to the top 4 here, maybe the final. You can't write them off at this point in time, Sean. That was something impressive.
Yeah, you definitely can't write them off. I mean, we still have another series. Obviously, I think Renegades can easily take either of the teams in the next series, right? Avangard or Vitality. It wouldn't shock me at all if we saw Renegades in the finals.
Oh my God, what happened? Starting
Problem
today.
is, though, as much as you don't want to do it, because listen, they were playing under trying circumstances. They already knew they were going to remove Alexi.
Certainly,
obviously, ENCE is prepared already. Literally, there was no way back. Even if I think they won this major, they were going to make this move. But even so, that isn't ENCE. Like, that's not the team I've watched playing all the year long. Definitely the players like Alu, like Sergey. I expect bigger things from him. Here's the thing, Sergey is still young. I think he's 17 years old, maybe. Yeah, he could next year be a great player. It's actually Alu that really disappointed me today. Where was all the open? Where was all the clutch play? Where was everything you think? Alu's supposed to be the cool customer, you know. He doesn't get rattled by these moments. So something was off. Like, I don't know what it is. The next ENCE better be different from this.
Yeah, a new iteration perhaps for ENCE, but it is a bittersweet pill for them to swallow. We do now get to see, of course, Renegades, they've picked up their win, but there's another game to come, and it's a big one. Team Vitality are going to be stepping into this arena versus a Vanguard. So many storylines unfolding specifically in this best of 3, and it's something I'll be breaking down on the desk with these guys, and perhaps we can find a towel or something for Chad. We'll maybe see if we can get him back here. Still, we're going to take a break, and the Major continues. Tell your friends, more Counter-Strike coming up after the break.